Virgo, hello there, my beautiful friends. We're going to do your general tarot reading for early October to mid-October 2023. Thank you so much for joining me today. You know I appreciate each and every single one of you. So let's get right down to business, as always, and start you off with an oracle card here, just so we could dip our toes in the energy and see what's going on for the lovely Virgo collective. I hope you're all doing fabulous, my friends. Let's get it going, my guides. Talk to me. What do we got for Virgo here? So we move through into mid-October, and yeah, we're just going to take a real quick look at this first card. Then we'll get into the full reading itself, and at the very end, I'll pull you a bonus card from the Shadowland Tarot, just to see what might be in the shadows or what shadow work you can lean in on, which is always interesting. But let's get it going here. Let's rock and see what we got for Virgo. Guides and spirit team, what's happening with my friends? And the deck feels like it wants to say something. I've been getting that with all the earth signs, like the deck feels a little jumpy. All right, this seems to be a running theme because it showed up in Capricorn as well. Now you're getting it. There's some sort of temptation here or attachment when we have this card, this devil figure. Now it's not particularly like the devil in the tarot deck. There's some differences here, but you see what I mean. There's something about temptation showing up. All right, now before we fully dive into that, if you're new here, I'll be speaking about the October subscriber surprise towards the end, so you might want to check that out. Also, if you could kindly illuminate that like button by tapping it right on its third eye, you know I'd greatly appreciate it. But enough of the promo, into the reading. Let's talk about this card. So if you look here at the imagery, we have this devil figure, we have this woman, we have this serpent, there's some flames. So obviously we get the point what this card is trying to tell us, right? Like what it's trying to symbolize. And to me, sure, sometimes it could represent like certain behavioral patterns that you know aren't the best for you. I don't want to say this is a toxic energy whatsoever, but to me it's more about temptation. So if there's something you've been refraining from, a person you've been refraining from, a thought process, anything that you've been trying to like fix, get right, or mend, this card might be spirit saying like, hey, there's a possibility that you cave or crack in one way or another when this card shows up. Now it does represent attachments. It can represent behaviors as well. This doesn't just have to be like interpersonal, romantic, and stuff like that. This devil energy is like, all right, there's something for you to keep your eye on. So if there's something you're going through that's like a little, it doesn't feel quite right, spirit could be saying like, hey, just keep your eye on this for the time being because it might evolve into something else. But let's just put it down right there. As I always say, the first card, it doesn't make or break the reading at all. It's just a little footnote. Let's get you into tarot. I'm going to get you 3 cards in the upright. Then we'll get into the intuitive juiciness here. So let's shuffle up the deck and see what we have for you, Virgo. And while we get the deck ready, let's talk about last week's reading because it was very interesting indeed. It was titled An Emotional Explosion, right? And the thing that I was picking up heavily last week was very intense inner emotions happening to the point where it's like bubbling up, bubbling up, bubbling up, and then boom, it comes out. Now that could be very positive. It doesn't have to be negative. I know the word explosion has like certain connotations to it, but sometimes we feel so good internally or feel so strong emotionally about someone that it does bubble up. But of course, it has that fiery link to it. So let's see what we have for you this week. As you know, every reading is very fluid. It's never set in stone. So only take this how it hits for you, right? Because we could be seeing your vibe or someone you're linked to. Let's get you 3 cards to start off. And yeah, we've been seeing a lot of fire for all the earth signs in recent weeks. So what do we have for Virgo, please? Thank you. Okay, Hierophant. So now we're getting some earthy energy here, right? This is day-to-day life type of energy with the Hierophant. Okay, it could be very spiritual as well. I wouldn't necessarily say this is a challenge or a bad energy. That's for sure. Let's get you 2 more, then we'll really start to build this out. It's solid. There's a sense of stability here. Okay, we have the Hanged Man. Maybe a little too much stability. Maybe a little too much inaction when we go from the Hierophant to the Hanged Man. Like these are very, like something's not moving, right? Whether it's delays or just something's not progressing. Let's get you 1 more, then we'll really start to see what the big picture is. Maybe you've stopped something recently. Okay, we have the King of Pentacles on the back end, so very grounded energy. Something might be grounded literally, like, okay, yeah, pause type of energy. So we're going to see what's up because this is very, very still. Now, that could all change when we get down to these clarifiers. It all really depends, but let's go through. I'll give you some of the classical meanings and archetypes, and we'll get into that juicy intuitive stuff. So at first look, first glance, I was feeling okay at first with the Hierophant, but the fact that we have so much of this energy, this could all be seen as earth energy, right? Because the Hanged Man could be Virgo, Scorpio. This is Taurus. This is all earth signs. So maybe your mind is heavily focused on the material world. Things like work, things like your day-to-day life, your routine, your schedule, like could be very, very prominent here. You could be hyper-focused on stuff like that. Or there could be delays, right? Like with all this abundance of earth energy, too much of any element could be a problem, right? So when we're going from so much fire now into so much earth, that is your power element though. Let's go through one by one and really start to build this story. Now, position number one, we do have the Hierophant. As I said, this is Taurus energy. And it's one of the more dense cards in the whole entire tarot deck. It has so many different sub-meanings here. So you just take which applies to you. As I said, this is a long-standing, immovable type of energy. It could represent power structures. It could represent corporations, like big religions, big institutions. It could represent authority figures. In its more positive aspects, it could be anything that's been in our life for a very long time, like a person or a thing. This is a marriage card as well, long-term commitment. So this can have good connotations. It's very spiritual as well. But normally when I see the Hierophant, I say this is like day-to-day life, right? This is within the box. There's not a lot jumping around. There's not a lot changing. There's not a lot moving. So we're going to want to see what clarifies that, because it could be super important. And in its challenge, sometimes it could be someone that is extremely stubborn. Like, okay, well, I made a decision, I made a choice, and I'm sticking to it, which could be good. But moving to the center, we're moving energy, but we're not moving energy. That's what I'm getting at, because as we progress, it's still at a pause, it's still at a stop. We have the Hanged Man in the center. Now, as I said, Scorpio, Virgo type of energy I pick up with this card. It is pulled back, retracted, and stopped. Right? You see that person. Not necessarily a bad card. Once again, all cards have positive and challenge, but this is something that is at a full stop or should come to a full stop for one reason or another. It's not retreating like the Hermit energy, but it's analyzing, it's watching. So when I see this card, I think of planning. I think of somebody that might be planning, strategizing, or watching something. Okay, that's a big vibe we pick up here with the Hanged Man. It's also a card of self-sacrifice, where one person sacrifices their happiness for the benefit of others, right? Like where, you know, as long as they're happy, I'm happy type of energy. If I can make them happy, then I'll be happy. It's very service-oriented when we have the Hanged Man. So the clarifiers for all this energy are going to be super important here, my friends. Now, moving to the back end, we move into the King of Pentacles. As I said, more earth sign energy. This could represent you. So in my simplistic style of reading, it doesn't matter male or female. The clarifier could tell us something that's coming towards you or a way you might be feeling. Taurus, Capricorn, you get the point. Generally, the King of Pentacles is a very positive type of card. This is like a business-oriented, money-oriented individual. Very solid, very stable, very focused, long-term staying power when this card shows up. So I like the energy, but once again, when it's surrounded by all this, like there might be certain things that you're a little hung up on, okay? That's just the vibe I'm picking up. But the King of Pentacles is very abundant. Like in regards to talking about money and the earthly and the monetary, it's just really, really good energy. But yeah, we're going to really need to dive deeper on all this, Virgo. So let's do that. Let's jump in and clarify. Okay, let's get a good shuffle here for the Virgos, please. And yes, my friends, this is where I go intuitive with the message, which means I just tell you how it feels to me. So feel free to do further research or rely on your base knowledge of tarot, because as you know, every single reading is about the reader's interpretation, and I'm just giving you mine. Let's go in on that Hierophant. And yes, if you're a reader too, please feel free to play along. That's why the box is here. If you're feeling any messages you want to give to Virgo, drop it in the comments. I don't mind at all. Okay, Hierophant time. What's going on here? Thank you. We have the Star in the upright. For a lot of you, you might feel like, all right, if I just continue on the path I'm going on, if I keep doing what I'm doing, everything will turn out fine, everything will be okay. You might be really analyzing things in your life, people, places, things, situations, and looking at long-term implications here when we have the Star in the upright. Now, for a portion of you, this could be a long-time connection with an Aquarius, or you might have Aquarian traits, but to me, this is a card of hope. It's a card of wish fulfillment. However, it's a card of the future. right? It's like a light at the end of the tunnel. This is a card of hope. It's a card of optimism. So if this is the energy you're coming from, I would say that's a beautiful thing, right? If you're feeling stable, or if you're analyzing things and you're analyzing situations and saying, all right, let's not just look at the present. Let's not look at the short term. Let's look at the long term here. What is better for the long term of this? That's just the vibe I'm picking up here. And I would say that's a good place to be, depending on what shows up after this. Now, the star is wish fulfillment, and it, once again, could be spirit saying like, hey, if you continue on this path, don't change much, like continue on the path, keep this mind state, something could really pay off for you in the end. You might have some big wins or victories coming down the pipeline because of this wish fulfillment. So I would say this is very stable, very good. But once again, I feel like a lot of Virgos in this time, if you're not in big picture mindset, if you're not looking at things down the road, Spirit is really wanting you to do that, right? Like look at the long-term implications, whether it's career, whether it's personal relationships, whether it's living situations. You want to look at the long-term implications here. Let's keep moving, which is interesting because we're doing like a weekly reading and it shows up from time to time, but with all this earthly energy, let's keep moving. Because I'm a little skeptical, especially moving into the Hanged Man. But let's see why the Hanged Man is here. Thank you. Okay. Seven of Wands in reverse. Don't give up on something. That's another thing I'm picking up here. The Seven of Wands in reverse to me is a card of like giving up hope, or giving up on something. Okay, with the Hanged Man in reverse, it's like, yeah, I'm not fighting. I'm not going to fight against the currents. I don't want to fight for it. So in this time, watch your energy. Like for a lot of you, please make sure you're taking care of yourself, mind, body, and soul, because you might feel a little zapped energetically, like you've been through the ringer. And of course, that would bring about this malaise type of energy where it's like, all right, yeah, I don't care about anything right now. Like that's kind of the vibe I'm picking up here. Now, the Seven of Wands in reverse sometimes could represent people like feeling freed in one way or another. It could also represent somebody feeling like they're going to fail a test of some kind. So underneath a card like the Hanged Man, you might be being very, very cautious about how you proceed. Okay, like that's another thing. So I feel like it's one or the other. It could be both. But if you're not being cautious, this could be Spirit saying like, hey, whatever it is you're going through, once again, whether it is work, whether it's earthly, whether it's personal relationships, just proceed with caution, slow and steady. Okay, that's just the vibe I'm picking up. So we're going to move over to that King of Pentacles. Like I said, this could be energy coming towards you or a way you might be feeling. So very interesting how that goes. Yeah, the middle, watch your energetic state in this time, because you might be feeling zapped in one way or another. Okay, like you just don't have the energy, you don't have the fight. So make sure you don't give up on something. Let's see why that King of Pentacles is in the mix. And as I said, remember, there was this temptation in the very beginning. Now we're getting this energy, like stay on track, like big picture thinking here. So why is the King of Pentacles in the mix for Virgo? Thank you. Yeah, okay, things are going to start moving in a positive direction here. We have the Four of Pentacles, and even if you're cross-watching for a Virgo, like the progress might be very slow and steady. I will say that because we have the Four of Pentacles in reverse. To me, this is a card that could sometimes be like a little bogged down, a little immovable. It could represent somebody that is just really set in their ways and stubborn. But when it shows up in reverse, that's a very positive way to receive this card, because to me, it's action. So when we're looking at big picture here, Virgo, aside from the caution we have in the middle, the possible warning that we have there, overall, the big picture looks very good for most of you. Like if you continue on a certain track, don't waste your energy, don't tap yourself out energetically. The Four of Pentacles in reverse, it could sometimes be someone feeling a little bit bitter, in my opinion. So there might be someone you're connected to that's feeling a little bitter, maybe a little jealous in one way or another. But to me, this is indicating action, forward movement, and progress. Remember, with all this earthy energy and all these long-term implications, I feel like keeping your eye on the prize and the light at the end of the tunnel is a very big thing. And things are going to pick up and it's going to improve, but it might take a little while. That's the big thing. Okay, that's the main thing that I'm feeling like with this spread as a whole. Okay, marathon, not a race. Okay, so let's go through and do a quick recap before we get a shadow card. Super intriguing reading this week, Virgo, but if you kindly look in the box, position number 1, we have the Hierophant with the star card in the upright. Half this spread is major arcana, very powerful themes and archetypes. This is a good prognosis, when we're looking at the long term of things down the road. A lot of you could be in that big picture mindset. If you're not, Spirit could be asking you to be that way or get into that. I see a lot of optimism in the future. Now, for a portion of you, you might need to continue the certain road you're walking down. That's a big thing here. Something could pay off for you in the end. However, when we get to the center, where we're getting some little tests, we're getting some little cautions. We have the Hanged Man with the Seven of Wands in reverse. It's important not to give up on things in this time. You might have a certain energy of malaise about you where it's like, I just feel tapped. Like, I don't want to do anything type of energy. So just don't give up on things in this time and just keep on a very steady track. But there is that cautionary tale right there that somebody could feel like giving up or they're not taking care of their energy is what we see here in the center. Moving to the back end, we have the King of Pentacles with the Four of Pentacles in reverse. And this is improvement. This is things picking up steam and starting to move along. But it might take some time. Now, watch out. There might be someone you're connected to where there's little feelings of bitterness or jealousy or something like that. But the main picture is positive, but watch out for the tests, because I feel like for a lot of you, Spirit might be testing you in one way or another. But it's very important to take care of yourself in this time. Very important. Please take a screenshot of that, Virgo. Let's get you a shadow card and see what's in the shadows for my Virgos. My guides, talk to me. And yes, I always like to pull one shadow card at the very end. You know that. See what's there. Whether it's within you, whether it's something you don't quite see. I feel like it's nice to look at. It doesn't have to be a negative thing. So let's see what's in the shadows for Virgo, please. Oh, and yes, if you made it to this far in the reading, please feel free to check out channel memberships. I'll leave a link for that down in the comments. Last week to get your name in or become a member, and I'll be doing a personal spread for every member, and that runs out this week. But let's get this shadow card going. I'll run more interesting things like that in the future. Obviously, no pressure. Let's get you a shadow card. Thank you. Okay, yeah, so here's that progress with the Six of Swords. A lot of you might just be of the mode of mindset, like, all right, I want to get there already. Like, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Like, you know that, like when you're driving with someone that's a little impatient, like, are we there yet? So the Six of Swords could represent like a trip, taking a vacation, going on travels or taking trips, which could be good. But as a shadow card, I think a lot of you want to get to the end destination of something already. It's like, okay, yeah, I'll do the work. I'll commit myself to certain things. I'll commit myself to something, but I just want to reach the end goal now. Right? So watch out for a lack of patience in this time when we have the Six of Swords. And another thing, when we see this card, even though there's improvements and things getting better slowly, to me, this is a card of just making sure you're taking care of what you're taking care of. Now, for a portion of you, there might be a person you're connected to where you feel like they're not taking care of their responsibilities, where it's like, okay, well, they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. That could really annoy you extra in this time. So keep that in mind, Virgo. But yes, my friends, that's what I have for you this week. Don't click away just yet, though. I'm going to give you the details. The October subscriber surprise. If you got your name in for the September subscriber surprise, the winners will be announced after this week's Fire and Air readings. But for October, I'll be going back to one of the classics. I'll be giving away 2 copies of the Everyday Witches Tarot. It's one of the most beautiful decks out there. So if you'd like to get your name in for this, it's 2 simple things, as always, my friends. First, you must be subscribed. Second, let me know down in the comments if there's a zodiac sign that you clash with. If so, which signs do you kind of bump heads with? You'll be entered to win, and at the end of October, your name will be announced in the community tab, my friends. As always, much love, and I'll see you next time.